So in the last section, we talked about exponential equations and exponential functions. A logarithmic equation is the inverse of an exponential equation, just like addition is the inverse of subtraction, multiplication and division are inverses, squaring and taking the square root, those are all inverse operations. Well, a logarithm is the inverse of an exponential equation. So here, b, so the base, this is called the base here, is going to be positive, and x is also positive, and b cannot be equal to 1. So if I have log base b of x equal to y, it can be rewritten as b raised to the y power is equal to x. And we're going to do this a whole lot. So b raised to the y power is x. So a logarithm, so here's my log, is equal to y. A logarithm is equal to an exponent. So you can see there that there's my exponent right there. My log is going to be equal to an exponent. So write in logarithmic form. So I want to change these back and forth. So I'm going to do log. It's going to be a base, and the base is the same as the base of the exponential. So this is going to be base 9 of 9 to the of 3 is going to be equal to 1/2. So the log is equal to the exponent right there. You can see that the log is equal to the exponent. So over here, log, the base on this is 5, so the base here is 5. It's going to be equal to the exponent, which is -1, so that leaves the 1/5 to go in this spot right there. Example 2, write in exponential form. So this time I'm going to take the base, which is 2. X is my exponent. So remember, it's the exponent. This is my exponent, is equal to 8. And for b, the base is 3. The exponent is -4, is equal to x. Okay, so now let's practice finding the value of logarithms. So in order to do that, you're going to set it equal to x and then rewrite it in exponential form. Now, I kind of do this in my head, but this is equal to x. So in exponential form, the base is 2, the exponent is x, is equal to 32. So what does x need to be so that it's equal to 32? Well, that's right, x is going to be equal to 5. You could do this with exponential equations, but it's easier just to think through it. I'm going to eventually let you do B and C. Let me go down to D. I've got 5 to the x power is equal to 1. So in order to get a 1, think about it for a minute. What kind of exponent do I need? That's right, x needs to be equal to 0. 5 to the 0 power is 1. Here I'm going to have 6 to the x is equal to 1/6. So I want an exponent that is going to flip this. And what flips it and makes it 1 over is a negative exponent. So x is going to have to be negative, and it doesn't change value, so it's just going to be -1. So 6 to the -1 is going to be 1/6. Here, you might give this one a try too eventually. G, I have log base 9 of 3, so that's going to be 9 to the x power is equal to 3. All right, well, this one gets smaller. It doesn't flip, so you got to think, what other kind of exponents do we have? So what we do know is that the square root of 9 is 3, and a square root is the same thing as an exponent of 1/2. So I could say that 9 to the 1/2 power is equal to 3. So the square root of 9 is 3, so that means x is equal to 1/2. H, I have 6 to some power is equal to the square root of 36. So 36 is actually, what, 6 squared, right? I mean, so that's going to actually, the square root of 36 is 6. So 6 to the x is equal to 6, so x must be equal to 1. Here I have 5 to some power is equal to the 4th root of 5. So remember that with radicals, what we do is we say 5 to the 1/4 power. So 5 to the x is equal to 5 to the 1/4. So x is equal to 1/4. All right, I'll skip J and let you come back and do that. Here I have, on this one, I'm going to have 1/2. That's my base, is 1/2 to the x power is equal to 16. Now on this one, you can see that it flipped. So what flips it is to have a negative exponent. And if I flip it, that's going to make it be 2. But then I need to raise it to the 4th power to get 16. So -4 is going to do the trick. Flips it and then raises it to the 4th power. JKL, so L, this is going to be 1/5 to the x power is equal to 5. So again, it just flips. So x is equal to -1. M, I have, well, I'll let you come back and do M. I will do, I'm going to circle that. So I'm going to do N. So I'm going to have 5 to the x power is equal to 5 root 5. Now this gets kind of hard right here. So it's like I have a 5 times, and then this is 5 to the 1/2 power. So when I have that, this is an understood 1, I'm going to add my exponents. So I have 1 plus a half is 1/2, which is 3/2. So 5 to the x is equal to 5 to the 3/2. So x is equal to 3/2. So the log of 5 root 5 is 3/2. So you try the ones that I circled and see how you do next class.